That can be presided.
Thank you. Please be seated. Well, good afternoon. This is going to be exciting. In about 2 minutes, it'll all be over. All the things you've worked for so long, but so hard. It'll be wonderful. Well, welcome to the Sandra Day O'Connor Courthouse, named after retired Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, recently of the United States Supreme Court. And of course, if you've looked at her statue out there, you'll know she was also a state legislator here. She was on our Arizona Court of Appeals and was really one of Arizona's icons. And if you ever travel in other parts of the world, and you mention you're from Arizona, one of the first questions they ask you, do you know Justice O'Connor? Because everybody assumes we all know her, well, we do. And if you get a chance, read some of her books. They're wonderful books, and it's a very enjoyable experience. But along with the nice weather, this is a nice ceremony. We welcome you here today. It's my honor and privilege to be here. And I welcome you all. We have some special guests over here that I'll introduce a little bit later. We've been lifelong friends who happen to be in Arizona. I said, gee, you want to come see the naturalization ceremony? Most people don't get a chance to see it. So they agreed. So that's very nice that they're here to say hello to you all. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Officer Ogilvie, and he will take over the program temporarily for now. Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you, Your Honor. It is so wonderful that your friends are able to attend today. We welcome them very much. Good afternoon, Your Honor, members of the court, soon-to-be new citizens, family, distinguished guests, friends, and possibly neighbors. Welcome to this ceremony today. My name is Officer David Oglesby, and I am the designated adjudication officer for today's proceedings. On behalf of the Department of Homeland Security, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, it is my pleasure, Your Honor, to present to this court 64 candidates from 26 countries for citizenship who have met all the procedure requirements of the naturalization statute. Of these candidates, 11 have requested a normal name change, formal name change, to which the government has no objection. It is noted that there are 5 candidates unable to attend today, and so we will have them rescheduled. The government respectfully requests the court to consider this motion of admission to citizenship and direct that the oath of allegiance be administered to the candidates. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, and it's so ordered. With that, we're going to turn it over to Bill White, who is the Deputy Clerk of the U.S. Court, to administer the oath of allegiance. And by the way, these are very important people that are here today. The Immigration and Naturalization Service, Customs, and changing names. But they're the ones that got you here through the test and everything and made this possible today. But also our Deputy Clerk of Court, who, if you get selected for jury service, will help you be adjusted and then get you into being jury. And that's important. They're wonderful people, and we have one of the best jury administrators and systems in the United States. So you're very blessed to be here. So Bill, we're going to turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Will the candidates please stand? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or a citizen. That I will support and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law. That I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law. That I will perform work of national importance under protection when required by the law, and that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, so help me God. Put your hands up.
Congratulations, give yourself a round of applause. Congratulations, now it's official. That's important. Nobody can take that away from you. That's the best part. So, we're now ready to turn it back to Joe's meeting for the next part.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. At this time, I'd like to request that all active duty, retired, and any other armed forces personnel members that have served in the U.S. Armed Forces to please stand. There you go. And do we have any up above here? If so, raise your hand if you served in the Army. There we go, right there. I want to give these folks a big hand for support. There's one more thing to this I want to do, and that would be if you have a family member, such as your son or daughter, possibly a niece or nephew, if you're in that category that are serving in the United States or who have served, can you stand too today? Here we go, right? Here we go, okay? Thank you so much. You are important to their supporting or defending the United States as they are, because they can't do it by themselves. So I wanted to give you a hand of applause as well. All right, we have been blessed with two that have asked to come and share. They may say I twisted their arm a little. That's okay.
Absolutely. We appreciate people engaged with the First Amendment right of free speech. We want to hear free speech.
There you go. And we'll probably have some more, but right now I'd like to invite out Abel Martinez, his former country of Mexico, because he's now a United States citizen.
There was going to be less people. How are you guys doing? Very excited. It's a very good emotion. I came in by way of Mexico to Tijuana in 1970. I was born in 1969. This country has given me everything. I mean, there's nothing I can't say that I haven't done for this country. And now today is the biggest day of my life. Well, one of them, besides having my kids. Sorry, I'm kind of nervous. I just want to say that one of my biggest dreams has always been to serve the law, and maybe it's a good opportunity for me to come along for one of these. Sorry. But I'm excited. Let's do it. This is today.
Let's have Christina.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Christina and I'm originally from Sweden. Today is a big day. I've been in the U.S. for my second time around for 16 years, and I finally got around, after being married to my darling husband, I finally got around of getting my citizenship. So today is, coming from Sweden, as probably in every country that is represented here today, coming to America is a land of opportunity. You can do anything you want in this country if you have the drive, determination, and just the guts. And I did, and here I am, and I'm not going back. So thank you for having me here.
I love it. I feel like we're at a political rally. All right, now, do I have maybe one or two folks out there yet that are new citizens that might want to come up and share here? Anyone else like to?
Don't be shy.
like to do then, I'd like to do some guest remarks today. And hopefully there'll be some that you'll remember as you have become a United States citizen. These are folks that were patriots. Okay, and you're wondering, well, what's a patriot? A patriot's one that they basically sacrificed their life so that you could be in the seat that you're in today. If these folks could be here today, before you would leave the courtroom, they'd be shaking every one of your hands. And and you would probably be thanking them and telling them, thank you so much for making my dream come true to become a U.S. citizen and to live in the United States in freedom. First one I'd like to share about, his name was Patrick Henry. It was March 23rd, 1775. Patrick Henry was urging his fellow Virginians to arm themselves in self-defense, and this is when he was closing their appeal. This was done at the St. John's Church in Richmond, Virginia, and this is where the first legislature was meeting. These are his immortal words, and hopefully they will spur you and really get you excited about your citizenship. But he said this, "Sir, we are not weak if we make the proper use of those means which the God of nature hath placed in our power. For the millions of people armed in the holy cause of liberty in such a country as we possess are invincible by any force that our enemy can send against us. Besides, sir, we shall not fight our battles alone, for there is a just God who presides over the destiny of nations and who will raise up friends to help us fight our battles. The battle, sir, is not for the strong alone, but it is for the vigilant, it is for the active, it is for the brave." And these are his immortal words, these last ones that spurred our country into freedom. And he said this, "Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery?" And he said this, he looked at him and he said, "Forbid it! I know not what other course may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." And those words charged our country and enabled us to become free. I'd like to give him a big hand of applause for standing up and Martin Luther King Jr. These are some of his words that he shared. Major impact on our country. Changed the course of this nation as well. But he said this, "Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. For every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle. The tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals." This was his dream, and this is what he said. "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by their color of their skin, but by the context of their character." John F. Kennedy, President during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, I was 12 years old when that happened. And I guess, I think I was in the 6th grade, but I didn't remember the Cuban crisis and how close we were to a nuclear war. But my wife and I, we watched a documentary on the Cuban crisis and how instrumental our President John F. Kennedy was in resolving this crisis. It was a big deal. And I didn't realize it until I saw that documentary. But these are some of his words that he shared when he was president. Hopefully these words some of you may remember. "In a real sense, it will not be one man going to the moon, but it will be an entire nation. For all of us must work to put him there. In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in the hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility, but I welcome it. And he said, at his inauguration speech, he said this, and so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. These are my words that I'd like to share with you to encourage you as you have become U.S. citizens today. You are an integral part of our country now. We are depending on you to help make things right in our country, to correct what isn't right. We know we're not perfect. We're working towards that goal. But here's what I'd like to say to you. I'd like to let you know that your freedom was paid with a great price. And it is up to you to preserve it. And that price was paid not only by men, but it was men and women. They gave their lives so that we could be here today. I'd like to challenge all of us to work together to make things right in our country. And it begins today as you have become U.S. citizens. Let's work side by side together so that we can make America the best place in the world, so that all people, and I say all people, can live together in peace. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's all stand together. Those that can stand face towards the American flag. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States. This will be the first time as a U.S. citizen we do the Pledge of Allegiance. Isn't that great? And you're going to do the Star Spangled Banner two together. Right hand over your heart. All right, all together.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's an honor and a privilege to call you a fellow citizen of the United States of America. This is now officially your country, your home to protect, to defend, and to serve through active and engaged citizenship. Together, we are a nation united not by any one culture or ethnicity or ideology, but by the principles of opportunity, equality, and liberty that are enshrined in our founding documents. Today marks a very special day in your life. You've traveled a long path to get here. You've sworn a solemn oath to this country, and now you have all the rights of citizenship. With the privileges of citizenship, though, come great responsibilities. And so I ask that you use your freedoms and your talents to contribute to the good of our nation and the world. Always remember that in America, no dream is impossible. Like the millions of immigrants who have come before you, you had the opportunity to enrich this country through your contributions to civic society, business, culture, and your community. You can help write the next great chapter in our American story. And together we can keep the beacon that is America burning bright for all the world to see. I am proud to welcome you as a new citizen of this country. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.
United States of America.
concluding remarks. First of all, you took an oath, and oaths mean something. Over my lifetime, I've taken many oaths, and they all mean something, and they stand for something. It's the message by which we live our lives, and you've taken one that's very important. I know you'll hold it in great honor. Of course, every time you think of you're the Star Spangled Banner, you're going to think of yourself being here singing it today, and being a better experience for you than many other people in the United States. So I hope you would cherish that. As I mentioned, we have some guests here today. The first I should tell you is we are blessed to be in the presence of our current United States Marshal, Mr. Andrew Gonzalez, sitting over here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. This is always embarrassing to my readers, but he is truly one of the nation's top law enforcement officers. The United States Marshal Service and the United States Marshals were part of the Judiciary Act of 1789. They are the oldest law enforcement agency in the United States. And they're the U.S. Marshal, as David is, was appointed by the President of the United States and confirmed by the Senate. He was originally appointed by President Bush II, and after his term expired, President Obama appointed him to a new term. So he's been the United States Marshal now for almost 16 years. He is so highly regarded, and last Thursday night, at a very prestigious dinner, he was awarded the Lawman of the Year Award for all of his fine work. So, but he also started out, born and raised in Flagstaff, Arizona, joined the Coconino County Sheriff's Office when he was quite young, and then went to school at NAU for a while. And he transferred down to Tucson, where he then met his wife. But while he was down here, he worked the graveyard shift. Just like many of you do. He worked the hard jobs, and he did all night long, went to school all day long at the University of Arizona, where he got his degree. So, bear down, Arizona. And then he joined the Department, continued on with the Department of Public Safety, rose through the ranks, and his wife moved to Phoenix. They have two lovely children who are now adults. One of them is in law enforcement, and the other is living in New York, doing whatever New Yorkers do. But anyway, so then, when it came time to pick a United States Marshal for this district, the President couldn't pick a better person. So there you go. And then the other crowd over here, let me explain. The male components of that group over there, we all grew up together in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we were swimmers on our high school team. They were really good. Me, I kept my head above water, let's put it that way. And they did very well in all their meets. Matter of fact, the fellow sitting there, Buzz Dalton, was a state champion and was an All-American in high school. They all went in different directions after high school. So let me start up, and if I can stand up to make sure I don't miss anybody, because they honor you today. When they were coming here for a visit, I mentioned that we do these ceremonies. They wanted to be here to honor you today, because they never really seen one of these, and it's exciting for them. Just like my mother, who lived till she was 104, when she traveled out here, she couldn't wait to come to these ceremonies and meet everybody. Of course, they thought she was a rock star since she was 100 years old. But anyway, I'll start with her. Sitting in the first row is Carolyn, who's married to Buzz. Buzz Dalton is the doctor, retired now. Next to him is Doug Hissong, who was a chemical engineer, PhD type, did a lot of research in the petroleum industry, and he's a freestyler. Next to him is Charlie Sternberg, or a backstroker. His wife, Mary Ann. Charlie's been in the pipe fitting business and was very successful fitting on big buildings like this one, things like that. And they've all scattered. Starting in the back row there is James, who's married to Bush Weber, also known as Joseph Weber. We went to Joe's Diner this morning for breakfast in his honor. But he came out and went to school on a scholarship and got involved in the broadcasting industry. And he had a lot of very interesting things to do in the television business that you would be very familiar with, including being the worldwide in charge of worldwide distribution for the Mary Tyler Moore Show. So then, next to there is my wife Elizabeth, who tries to keep me in line, and you know, the poor thing, I run her ragged. So they're here today, and that's who these people are. We've been lifelong friends, just like many of you, but lifelong friends, and many of your children will go on, and you may be involved in some of the things that they do, and it just shows you that education is very, very important. Next thing is that I would encourage you to engage and be sure to get a new passport. That's very important. You don't want to run out of the United States and come back and say, oops, I'm a citizen, but I don't have a passport. That could be embarrassing. So you want to be sure you get a new passport. We're making a volunteer, and we volunteer for everybody. It doesn't matter what you do, but as time went on, as I mentioned, my mother, she shrunk. She went from 5 to 4 to 10. She could never reach up to the top of the store. She'd be trying to step off on the shelves, you know, which wasn't a good idea for someone who's 98 years old. But she always appreciated when somebody came back and said, may I help you get that down? And she valued that. So whatever it is that you do in your daily activities to volunteer to help someone else, it's always greatly appreciated. Next is be sure to register to vote. We have a lot of good elections coming up. Doesn't matter who you vote for, but it's very important that you register to vote. And finally, jury service. You may get called over to state court like I am, or called into this building to serve as a juror. And that's very important because this year, 2015, marks the 800th anniversary of the Magna Carta, signed in 1215 and running in England by King John. And that was what gave us in Article 29 the underpinnings of our jury system. That's very important because the United States and England with their jury system is different from most places in the world. Most places don't have that. A lot of times proceedings in court are held in secret. You don't know what happens there. You don't know what happens. But here we're open to the public. People can come in. It's exciting to serve as a juror. About 4 or 5 years ago, after one of our jury trials, a young lady came up and she said, you probably don't remember me. I said, no. Well, actually, I don't. And she said, well, I wouldn't expect you would. But about 5 years ago, I was a brand new citizen in your ceremony. And you mentioned jury service. And I got to be picked as a jury for this case when I found out you were going to be a judge. I was so excited to do that. So we had our pictures taken together. We sent them off to different places. So if you get a chance to be a juror, no matter where it is, you'll be part of a very, very aged and honored tradition. Jury service is guaranteed by our Constitution of the United States as well as our state constitutions. Sometimes, as long as I'm giving a plug for our higher education universities here, you may recall some time ago when Lowell Observatory, affiliated with NAU, declared Pluto was a planet. Not too long ago, they said, no, it wasn't. Well, a lot of the data being sent back from Pluto right now, as well as other parts in outer space, are being done by the facilities at the University of Arizona and Arizona State University in their collaborative projects, and we are on the cutting edge. So Arizona is important in the development and exploration of outer space. Sit tight, you'll see a lot of those good things coming down the pipe. But now we're approaching the fall of the year. As we move into the latter part of the year, November is a very historic reason in the United States for a couple of reasons, and the United States, I should say. This marks the 162nd anniversary, this November the 19th, of the famous Gettysburg Address by President Lincoln at the Gettysburg Memorial. During that terrible battle that was on July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, where so many Americans were killed in decisive battle, whether the Union would be preserved or not. We gave this as a marked address, and there were 2 speakers that day. A fellow named Edward Everett, who was a noted orator, who went on for hours and hours for this great, grandiose thing. As you remember that President Lincoln, when he got up to speak, he was a little awkward and wasn't feeling really good that day, and he talked about that what he said would not be remembered very long. Well, it was. It's probably the best speech in the United States, and I would commend it to you reading. If I could get through it, I'd read it to you now, but I can't. It's only about a minute and a half of speech, and It's reading, and it tells us about the future of our country and how important it is that we be engaged to carry on the fine traditions of the United States. And finally, although not here, the flags in our other courtrooms have all been flown over the Arizona Memorial in Pearl Harbor to remind us that freedom isn't free. There's a price to be paid, and we enjoy the benefit of that, so we respect that benefit. And finally, on November 11th, which is next week, next Wednesday, will be Veterans Day. But before that was called Armistice Day. And Armistice Day was the ending of hostilities in World War I, the Great War, the war to end all wars, which we know didn't work out so well. But it occurred on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. So next Wednesday, think about those things and think about the veterans who served, and made it possible for us to be here today. And I hope you will reflect upon that. And again, I wish to thank you all for your presence and being here today. I hope you enjoyed the experience and participation in your ceremony. I would ask a couple things as we recess. For the people in the back of the room behind the swinging doors there, if you would go out into the atrium out there and wait for the people, your relatives, to come out. What we're going to do is hand out these certificates. But those doors can have a tendency to pinch people's fingers if you get caught up in them. And plus, it creates a big traffic jam. So I would ask you, if you can do that, please just recess. Then as soon as everybody gets their certificates, please come on back in here. You'll get your pictures taken. If you wish to, you can visit with people. You can get your picture taken over here with the flag. We'll all be around to say hello to you. And as I always do, I always come down and shake your hand as you exit if you've got your certificates. So once again, give yourself a great round of applause. Congratulations, and I'll see you in the supermarket somewhere. Thank you.
Fantastic. We're going to prepare to pass out your certificates. One thing I wanted to cover, the voter registration office over here.